If you're a solo OnlyFans creator, having sexting scripts that you can literally just copy and paste will make it so much easier to sell content to your subscribers. Problem is, a lot of the sexting scripts on the internet are fucking shit. In this video, I'm gonna run you through everything that makes sexting scripts effective and exactly how you can write some for yourself to make making money easier. And if you stick around to the end, I will give you some of my sexting scripts, so even easier. I'm gonna start with how to actually write an effective sexting script. Later, I'll show you how to lay that script out on a document so it's really easy to just copy and paste it into OnlyFans. Starting off with the really simple stuff. Obviously, when you're writing your script, you want it to be as friendly as possible. Your goal should be to keep the conversation moving forward, whether that be using questions, just saying things that will spark curiosity. As you're writing your script, you need to be thinking about, will it be easy to slip this in with whatever reply they send you? At first, it's kind of hard to do that, but as you start writing your scripts and you're using them, you'll see which messages can slot into the conversation easier than others. That being said, there are going to be times when fans just go off script and you need to be prepared for that. Don't blindly copy and paste stuff or they're gonna go, you a bot, and it's all gonna go wrong. Now, your script's not gonna be very useful if you can't use it on fans until they make the conversation sexual or they ask to buy content. We want a script that we can use on any fan in any situation. So the first part of our script, and this is really optional, is going to be our transition. And the purpose of this is to take a normal conversation with a subscriber and transition into sexting and selling with our script. Most important thing with transitioning, we don't want the fan to see the sale coming. If you instantly start asking things like, want to have some fun? Can I show you something? They're going to know you're about to start sending them content. And maybe if they've bought before or they just don't feel like spending money right now, they'll go, I'm gonna remove myself from the situation, and they'll leave you on red. It's best that they don't know they're gonna be sold until they're turned on and you put a pay-per-view in front of them, and then they buy it. Start your script with a question about something that you are currently doing. Not sexual, very important. It could be, I'm trying to find some music to listen to. I need a new show to watch. I really need to go and have a shower. I need to make some dinner soon. Anything. You just need to steer the conversation towards that thing that you're currently doing and have a bit of small talk about it. So you could script that small talk or you could just go off script. It might feel a bit natural. Just 3 or 4 replies from them is fine. Now you want to send your first teaser with a caption that isn't sexual either. So if we use the example of, I need to find some music to listen to, the caption could be, I've got 5 Spotify playlists and I swear I'm sick of all of them. Not sexual. I should have mentioned, these scripts work best with a sexting sequence. So live content. It's when you make batches of content that are taken as if they're meant to be live and you sell them as they get progressively more explicit and expensive. And they usually start with free teasers. For these to work best, make sure your teasers don't seem suggestive, just like a normal photo that you would take on Snapchat, for example. So you send your first teaser, they're probably gonna reply by mentioning something about how you look, whatever, you look great, blah, blah. If they do and they really start sexting a lot, you can skip straight to your actual sexting in your script. But if they don't and they keep on sort of having normal conversation, you use this part. You wanna keep talking about whatever it is you're currently doing. Just normal small talk, keep it going. You can script that out or do it freestyle, like I said. When you send your next teaser, so this should probably be a little bit more suggestive, not too much though, you wanna ask an if you were here question related to that thing that you're currently doing. So in our example, that could be, if you were here, what music would you put on for us? It's important that you reword that question when you use different scripts, even if it's very subtly, because otherwise I've noticed that they start to realize that you say the same thing. It could be something as simple as switching around the question, going, what music would you put on for us if you were here? At this point, you've transitioned, because the way I think about a transition, it's not how do I make this conversation sexual, it's how do we start talking about what we would be doing if we were together. So gradually increase the excitement. You kind of want to be flirting in this sexting story you've created. If we were together listening to music, I wonder how long before we got distracted, right? Just little cheeky, flirty pokes. Now that you've transitioned, it's time for the actual body of your script. This is where you'll be selling all of the content. What will make this body effective is if we can keep fans interested for as long as possible, so they keep on buying and buying and buying. I believe the best way to do that is with story-based sexting. All that means is you stick to your scenario from your transition. So the example I'll use is, what if we were together listening to music? But I gave you a few other examples, like what if we were together watching Netflix? What if we were together and I needed to go and have a shower? What if we were together and I needed to make dinner? Sexting can happen from all of that because the fan's just imagining being with you. And where's that gonna go in their mind? That's the point. We want the story to get progressively more exciting. Don't go straight for the most exciting part in the story. To keep them interested for longer, it needs to be gradual. Having a different story for each script is what will separate them and it'll keep them interesting. The reason I like this approach so much is you can include fans' preferences in your story without the content having to be relevant. Your sexting story could be about having a threesome. It could be about having sex in a place they've always wanted to have sex, like on the beach. Think of it as a form of entertainment, almost like you're writing one of those erotica novel things. Now, the story does work well when it's linked to the content that you're selling. So if you're telling a story about something in a particular outfit and you are wearing that outfit in the content, things like that obviously will help, but it's not essential. From my experience, this is way more effective than just on repeat going, wow, I'm so horny, that's so hot, this is so much fun. You're actually giving them something to clearly visualize in their mind, and that's what keeps them excited. And if you need ideas for stories, you could literally ask ChatGPT, but they don't have to be too out there. These two things make sexting scripts way more effective, so it's really important you understand them. Pacing and expanding. Like I was saying before, pacing is just how fast your script gets more and more exciting. Now, it can be tempting when you're writing a sexting script to talk about the more exciting stuff sooner. But really you want to increase the excitement steadily. Don't rush to talk about the most sexual parts of the story, like let's say having sex. Because if our goal is to keep the fan interested for as long as possible, if we rush to talk about the most exciting thing possible, then they're just going to slowly get less and less excited because there's nothing more exciting to talk about from there. But if it's a constant slow burn that gets more and more exciting gradually, that's how you'll keep them interested for longer so they keep on buying. There's also less risk of them finishing early. And a really good way of pacing your script while keeping it exciting is by talking about teasing them in the story. I can't use two specific examples because this is YouTube, but basically you just talk about in your story, I'd be about to do this, but I wouldn't. I'd be so close, about to, whatever it is, just holding them in suspense like that in the story. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it works. One of the most effective things you can do. But really string it out, focus on building tension over time. That is what will work the best. Then we have expanding on what you're saying. Basically, that just means getting more for what you want to say. So use multiple messages. Don't get straight to the point. Do the opposite. I'd work my way down your body, getting lower and lower until X, whatever it is. Just as many messages as possible. I avoid using like one long paragraph because it looks scripted. It's also best to use multiple short messages in succession because it keeps on giving them more and more to read gradually. But when you're expanding, you want to be using detail to really help them visualize. I've got an example to show you what I mean. I could say, this morning I got out of bed and went to the shops. Can you imagine that? Not really. Like there's not enough detail for you to work with. What if I said, it was a very rainy morning, I slowly slid out of my bed with gray sheets, put on my black tracksuit, opened the big wooden door, stepped out onto the concrete, and ran to the shops in the rain. Very PG example, but do you get the idea? You want to be saying more for your idea. So every time you write something, think, can I expand on this? I hope you are taking value from the video so far. If you are, I would love it if you just quickly leave it a like. It helps me out a lot. I drop videos like this multiple times a week, so if they help you, consider subscribing, share it with your friends. If there are any problems that you are facing or something that I could make to help you, leave it in the comments and I will try to get to all of them. Thank you. If you want to get really clever, you can include different paths and variables in your script. It sounds complicated, but it's not really. Like I said before, by tailoring scripts to fans' specific preferences, it'll make them much more effective, much more likely for the fan to buy. There are plenty of fans who just will not engage if you don't talk about the thing that they're into. Fans are into so many things, from threesomes to feet. We had some guy the other day who was into inflatable balloon animals. I don't fucking know, but if he was one of your spenders, when you go to write your script, you could make different versions of some of your messages, like maybe your caption, that cater to that preference. It'll make them much more likely to buy. By far the biggest one out of all those preferences, the most common one, is the power dynamics thing. The guys that are into being submissive, having the creator tell them what to do. Back when I used to write scripts for our agency, I would include a normal version for most guys and then a version for the submissive guys, where it would be more assertive. In the story, you're telling them what to do, teasing more, even being slightly mean. A good trick for writing scripts for those submissive guys is you just do the same thing, but you put a full stop at the end of each line, because it makes it seem like a statement. And then I will do this, full stop. I don't know, little tip for you. So I'd recommend doing that. And all you need to do is, after your transition, ask a question something like, would you prefer to take control or should I lead the way? It's better than asking, are you dominant or submissive? That sounds kind of weird. But you could do this for so many different preferences and kinds of script. Make it like a choose your own adventure style. You don't have to, but if you can be bothered, that will make it so you can sell your script to different fans that are into different things, and it's going to be much more personalized to them, and I promise you it makes a huge difference. Welcome. As promised, these are the example sexting scripts. If you click on the link in the description of this video, it will bring you to this page. Really quickly, I'm just going to show you how this all works. So, if you click on this little toggle, it'll open up the instructions. Basically, the way these scripts work is they're in these blocks, and each block is a message. I'll show you that in a second. You need to keep on sending the messages until it says wait for reply. So you see how there's a little label underneath it? If it says wait for reply, you just wait for the fan to reply. If it says this is a caption for a teaser, it'll say teaser 1, teaser 2. That's for the teaser in your sexting sequence. Same with caption for pay-per-view and so on. I'll show you them properly in a second. There are times where the script will say insert name or insert show that you watch. Insert, look out for that. Don't send them a message saying insert name. That will be a problem. Now, the scripts are broken into two sections. Like I said, there's the transition, that's optional. You only really need to send that. You should send it a lot of the time, but it's more for if you're trying to take that normal conversation with a fan and transition it into sexting. They're designed so you can send them from pretty much any point in any conversation. Then the sexting is the body of the script. It's where you send the content. There are two versions of each script. So now I was talking about the paths, different paths. There's one for neutral fans, so just normal guys. And there's ones for more submissive fans, the submissive guys. The transition is the same for both versions. Disclaimer, you may need to go off script. Do not blindly copy and paste messages without reading what the fan is saying. They'll just get suspicious and it'll all go wrong. We don't want that. And do not use the same transition, like I said, same transition in these two, same transition is in these two. Don't use the same script on people twice. It's going to make it very obvious what you're doing. And add your own emojis. I've tried to go very light on the emojis so you can adjust it to how you talk. This is how the scripts look. So I'll go transition. These are designed to be sent at any point in the conversation. So just to show you quickly, it's best to use this on a computer because then you can click copy. If you're on a phone, you can just copy it, like highlighting it. But here, it's really easy. You just go copy. So you're on OnlyFans. This is my example. Bang. Bang. Then wait for reply. So the subscriber says whatever they say, and then you go like this. And this would be your caption for your first teaser. So you'd open up the vault. I don't actually know what's in my vault. I'm not going to do that. And then you make this the caption for your teaser. I can't show you the rest of the script, but the ones that say, caption for pay-per-view 1, 2, 3. It goes up to pay-per-view 8. Your scripts may not have 8 pay-per-views, so you can just remove some of the sections of the script or just make it shorter, not use the last part, whatever. Now, at the end of the script, it just abruptly ends at the last pay-per-view. If you don't know, definitely keep talking to the fan after they buy the last one. Aftercare is very important. I'm not going to include that in these scripts because it gets a bit robotic. Just keep talking to them, give them the same energy you were giving them when they were being sold, and they'll be sure to come back next time. Mini disclaimer, there are probably going to be a fair few people using these scripts. So use them at your own risk. I've made a whole video just then on how you can write your own ones, so you can use these as inspiration. You can use these. They are very good. We actually put a lot of effort into these. I promise they'll work, but just maybe change them up a little bit over time. And most importantly, watch this video right here if you want to learn how to improve your captions to make these even more effective. So you can watch that. That's there. Enjoy the rest of your day.